Hola. How are we doing?
Hello.
Going live on all the things. Hold on, let me do this other one. One more. There we go. Okay. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good. I thought somebody else might be coming and I was just checking, but apparently not.
A gnat is coming. A gnat is here. We have one gnat.
Hey guys, hi.
Hola. I'm just moving
Oh, don't tell me anything.
You can see everything. Okay, so view gallery. There we go. Okay. One more thing. Hold on.
You're good. That's why the daytime stuff sometimes is like hard. I told him, I go, hey, I'll be out in a minute. He's like, Mom, don't tell me anything. Well,
I love him. I love him so much.
well, leave me alone. Get out here, kid. No.
How we doing, everybody?
Good. Well, there you are live. Okay.
So yeah, I'm live. I'm doing all the lives. I'm doing all the things. This is the Oakbridge's. I probably shouldn't do that. This is the Oakbridge Institute question and answer. So what we're talking about is mediumship, spirituality, anything, any questions that you have about literally anything as it relates to spirituality. My eyebrows look beautiful today. Thank you. That's very kind. They're nothing special, just my normal eyebrows. I mean, I did my eyebrows not long ago, but it's like you've seen me since then. So, but thanks for the eyebrow compliment. I'll take it any day because I got these big caterpillars on my head. So yeah, this is the Oakbridge Institute Q and A every Monday at 2 o'clock Pacific. So let's jump in. I have people that are live in my YouTube, Zoom room, and then I have some people that are in the Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, lots of places. So with that in mind, just as a reminder, this isn't me doing readings. I'm not doing readings for you. It's a Q&A as in information, not Q&A as in I'm doing readings. I will be doing readings later tonight. So if you are interested in getting potentially a free reading, you can do that by following me on the Tickety Talks. I'll probably be on wherever you're watching me right now too, minus where Nat and Janelle are. But yeah, I'll probably be on doing readings later. So yeah, I'm gonna open it up to my people that are here.
I know Nat's waiting for me to ask something. Well, first of all, I would do a lot of things for those eyebrows, like a lot. So jealous.
This is definitely my dad's side of the family. The eyebrows come from my dad's side.
Yeah, well, we're all over here, so there's just you get none of that. Okay, so like I've been kind of just more so developing my relationship with spirit and not focusing a lot on like let me try to read good. Like I've kind of just released a lot of that.
Good.
So now I'm like developing this relationship, but I'm kind of lost while doing that. And I kind of like doing it through trance sometimes. I like mixing trance in there, even though I'm not doing trance. That's my intent sometimes. But I'm kind of like, I don't have a direction with that. Like I'm kind of like, other than an intent, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So this is where the class personal mediumship will come in and help you with all of that. But that's actually kind of the point of your development with the spirit world when you're not doing it specifically for, I want to develop mental mediumship or something like that. What you are doing is you're saying, Spirit, I'm handing this time over to you. You do what is needed, and I'm just going to follow along and go with whatever is unfolding. And it's that sort of mentality that allows the spirit world to develop what is possible within you and within your experience. So For me, it's that I'm just coming to you with an empty cup sort of vibe. And I think for a lot of us who want to have sort of a direction or a guidepost, it can feel a little out at sea, you know, a little out at sea. So what I would say is make it about blending, make it about surrender, make it about trusting the spirit to do whatever it is, whether you're aware of it or not, and recognize that sometimes the spirit world is going to draw close and make themselves felt or experienced, and other times in a way that you can see, feel, experience, and other times they will not. But the practice is meeting the other world without an agenda, without a desire for a certain outcome. And that's what's going to cultivate and build your awareness. When you can focus on completely letting go, completely surrendering, that's going to just have byproduct positive reactions in other areas of your mediumship in general. So I guess my question would be, what kinds of things would make you feel a little bit more like you have direction?
I guess in the sitting, I'm looking for something, I guess.
Yeah.
A more instant, whatever, rather than, because I feel like sometimes I can be aware of something, but I'm so used to notice and let go and kind of go to that blank space again, right? But sometimes I feel like, oh, I want to hang on. Where will that go? Can I go somewhere with that? You know what I mean? But I'm like, which one do I do?
The first one. The first one. Because that's where trance is going to be developed. That's where trance is going to be developed. That's where your surrender to a deeper degree is going to be developed. Just let yourself go into that, because that's more the direction. You don't have to be aware. You don't have to, follow along and have the experience. Especially if you are leaning into more of the entrancement states. I have found the more I've let go, the more I've let myself just drift away, it's caused my trance mediumship to unfold and deepen. I mean, there's two ways that it's taught. The two ways that it's taught is, number one, let yourself be inspired in the moment and move almost like from an inspired space, and then deepen. And then the other way that I found that worked for me really well was just completely let go, completely surrender, completely do nothing, and kind of basically go to sleep. And that's when it started to happen automatically. Right? That's when I didn't have to do anything anymore. But also it helps foster this deeper sense of surrender that you would, I think anytime I sit for the spirit, whether it's in home circle or whether that is in trance or, for physical things, minus table, I would say, I find that I'm really only aware for the beginning, and then I'm gone. So it's the process of going into it and all of the little check marks along the way that I'm like, oh, that's familiar, that feels like something. And then I let go more and more and more. And then that leads me into sort of a no mind place. And I just live there. I live in the no mind place. And things happen to me while I'm in that space. So spirit draws close. Spirit, I feel weird sensations. I have them draw really, really, in. So there's all these different things that occur during that time period, as well as speaking and other things. And I don't have to do anything. I literally just surrender. And that's the level of surrender that I think we will cultivate and help other parts of our mediumship, where we don't even have to, where we are more aware. When I'm doing mental mediumship, of course I'm aware, I'm narrating the experience and I'm moving with it. But my ability to surrender deeply, much quicker, much easier, let go of control a lot more. If I'm sitting for trance or that sort of thing regularly, I feel that so much stronger, so much more able to experience that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. And that kind of, oh shit, I had it right there and it went away. Let me just let it go.
It'll come back.
Yeah. Where so when I'm doing that and I'm going blank, right, and I come out, there's this thing, how am I trying to say this? What am I trying to say? When I'm developing my relationship with my guides and stuff, right? That's been my biggest issue. There's things that happen like in my daily life that bring things together. Like I'll talk to them and things have come together, lots of cool things where I'm like, oh, hell yeah, they're listening, right?
Yeah.
But I think where my issue is this like personal development with exactly and I feel like my only space to do that would be sitting, but I'm kind of just going out and not doing anything. So I'm trying to bring those two together, because it's like when I think of them, I'm like, well, one of y'all helped, or somebody did it. I don't know, but somebody. And so I think that's where I'm having a hard time developing this like personal thing. Or it's my mind going, well, that shouldn't, I guess maybe that shouldn't even matter.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I would say when I sat for spirit to just sit for spirit, and I was able to get all that information on my guide, that happened to me at some point. It was never a point of me being like, let me be observant of what's happening. Let me try to make sure that I'm staying here and aware enough to know what's going on. No, I would drift away and then something would happen to me and that brings me back, right? So if they're going to make themselves known, they will just make themselves known. You will hear it, you will see it, you will experience it. It will just happen. If I'm sitting there though and going, okay, wait, don't let go fully because I want to stay here, I'm actually inhibiting something. So basically what I'm trying to say is let yourself go. And if it's going to happen, it'll just happen to you. There will be no question. You'll become aware of something. It'll hit you somewhere like out of the blue. It just happens. It's more about letting go. So if you're going into that no mind space, great. Maybe that's the space you need to be in a while until finally the spirit's able to go, boop, okay, we can get to you now. Bam, here's something. Right? You don't know what they're doing. We never know what they're doing, or often don't know what they're doing. So you will be made aware if you need to be made aware.
Yeah.
And kind of
well, when they have made me aware, they've told me it's patient. That's the only thing they tell me is patience. I'm on, bro. Okay. I hear you.
We get it, bro. We get it. We got it. All right. Thank you. Now give me something good.
Yeah.
Seal Beach. That's not far. Hey, William. Welcome. Yeah. So that's what I would say.
Okay.
Follow up. I know it doesn't feel that glamorous or that exciting to just like chill and go away, but ultimately that's the direction you need to go.
Yeah. Do you have something Nat right now on your? Because I feel like you have something, so you can go ahead.
Yeah. Well, what happened the other day to me? Okay, Michael, this is so cool, and it's a little bit of a story, but I don't know what this is, so I don't know how to classify this. Like, is this some sort of physical mediumship? Is it just regular? Like, I don't know what this is. So I would love to hear what you have to say after this. So like 2 months ago, I might have told you, I don't know. I was sleeping, I woke up and I saw sitting, like if I would have gotten out of bed, I would have been able to touch this man. I saw this man sitting outside my bedroom door, which most spirits, when I see them in physical form, they're always right outside my bedroom door. It's almost as if I have they know my boundary is like my door that I leave open. It's so cool. Anyways, so I saw this guy sitting outside my door and I just knew it was a new guide. I just knew, it wasn't a question. It wasn't a doubt. I was just like, bro, I'm trying to sleep. Go away. And I went to bed. I'm kicking myself now because it hasn't happened since then. But I'll sit in the power and in my home circle, they'll kind of pick up pieces about him, like here and there, and I just know it's him. And he feels like a teacher, like truly feels like Sherlock Holmes to me. Like he's whatever. Anyways, so I was sitting in the power with a group of ladies. Janelle was one of them, but I won't say the other ones just to keep names, whatever. And we're just sitting in the power. That was the whole purpose, point, whatever. I'm sitting in the power. And in the beginning, I'm thinking about each of the people that were in my group. And I was just sending love, in a circle, connecting all of us. And it kind of turned into butterflies. I don't know. And kind of I don't know. my guide, this guy just pops up next to me. And he's like, go in the middle of the circle. I was like, what? And he's like, come with me, go in the middle of the circle. I was like, okay, I'll go in the middle. Like this happened last week. I go into the middle of the circle in my mind, whatever. He guides me and he lights a match. And he was teaching me. He's like, this match was like a little flicker. And he's like, let go. And each time I kind of surrendered and let go, more I could see more from this match that he lit. And he's like, the more you surrender, the more you let go, the more you actually become aware without looking or searching. Like this match will become brighter the more you relax and let go, which is something I need to hear and something I'm trying to work on. So I was like, wow, that's cool, bro. This is all in my mind. This isn't real. Like, I'm making this all up. And he's like, what? And I was like, yeah, like, I'm making this up. You're just whatever. And he's like, all right, fine. I'll prove it to you. I was like, great. Prove it to me. This is all within like a 20 minutes in the power. And he goes, this other friend of yours has a book on the left. This book in her room has plants on it. It made me think of trees. There's something about nature on this book. Have her take this book down, open it, and go to page blah, 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 like 57, I think, or 59. And on this page, there will be the number 2, something about 2 paths or 2. There will be the number 2 on this. Read this page. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to sound like a fool. He was like, no, you're going to do this. So we're done sitting in power. Oh, and it's really important. I woke up that morning and the first thing I talked to my husband right away that morning about something that's been really heavy on my mind about whatever, it doesn't matter, but something really heavy I talked about that morning. Fast forward to now I'm getting out of sitting in the power. And I said, hey friend, do you have time before you go? Can you please just appease me? She found this book, opened it up, found the page, plants all on the front, the book, opened it up. That page, it said the number 2 on the top, which why would there be a number 2 on a certain page? Like that didn't make any sense to me, but it said bold letters. That's what it was. Read the page and the page applied to her. She needed to hear that, but also I needed to hear the second part of that page was exactly what I talked about that morning. Like it was the answer to the problem I had in the morning. And I was like, mind blown, what in the world? And then he did it again the next day. The next day, I'm just sitting with one friend and she was telling me that she had like a little bit of a problem, like a situation going on. And whatever, because we just share stuff. And then let's sit in the power together and just sit, like no intent, purpose, let's just sit. He shows up again. I was like, okay. And he's like, your friend has a black crystally stone rock in front of her. And underneath this rock that's in front of her, there's a crumpled up piece of paper. It looks like fortune cookie, like crumpled up fortune cookie. And that'll be the answer to her problems. Like this will help her. I was like, what? So I asked my friend, I was like, okay, do you by chance have like a little black stone rock in front of you? Is there a crumpled up piece of paper? She's like, yes, right in front of me. Literally, she didn't have to move. It was right in front of her. And underneath was a shredded piece of paper that someone wrote a name about like breath work or something on this piece of paper that was underneath the rock. I was like, what in the world? So I'm really excited about this. It feels really cool. But what is this? Like, what is this? I'm not searching. I'm letting go. So you telling Chanel, like, just let go. Don't search for it. And it just happens. That's so true because that's what happened. But like, what is it that's happening?
So what you just described is what is called a book test. So this is actually something that was done very commonly back in the day of studying mediums and testing mediums. They would, the spirit would prove themselves basically by saying, okay, scientist guy, in your study, you have this book on this shelf, go over 3 books. It's a gold binding, has, green letters on it, whatever. You're going to open the page on page 148, you're going to see XYZ on the page, and I'm going to read off of what's on the page. And that's how you'll know that this is true, that this is evidential. So you literally just described a book test. And what the spirit would use that for is essentially to prove that they are who they say they are, to give you evidence that this is genuine and this is real. So what you just described is classically what the spirit can do to prove themselves and make themselves known. So amazing. Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anne Marie said you could call her out now.
Oh, great. It was Anne Marie. Anne Marie was in the room and she had the book.
It was Henry with the book.
Yeah,
That
Anne Marie
makes
had the book.
sense. Oops, I accidentally invited someone. I didn't mean to invite you. Sorry. It's just trying to click a button. Although you can come up if you want. I don't care. But so yeah, that's what was happening.
So that was just it. Like, yeah. Okay. Cool. That's really cool.
Yeah,
That
so
the book test
just
is a thing.
It is. It's a thing, and normally it's done in the trance states. What's interesting is that you're just having an interaction with this consciousness. I'd be curious. I think for me, what that tells me is to trust what you're getting when this guide appears. Just go with it. Just do what you've been doing. Trust what you're getting when the guide appears, and that's a good sign.
Yeah. Go with him. He feels so. It's really interesting because I keep showing up here and I'm going to keep showing up here and asking you questions. And, like I love getting knowledge from everyone, but it feels like I'm at this point where it's like, turn to us, lean up, like we're here, like my guide, specifically this one feels like a teacher, a guide. Like this feels like a moment where he's like, that's great that they're there to help you on that physical, but come to me, like trust me and to help me like put all of these puzzles, like you give me the information on a puzzle piece and I'm the one that has to try and get it to apply and do it. And I feel like he's here to help me kind of apply the things.
Well,
if that makes sense.
I would also say that's who you're going to work with. That's the person who's going to be your go-between. That's going to be literally that's what a guide is, right? They're the ones that come in and they show us and they teach us and they help us understand more. And that would be your person that's going to support you in that. So yeah, it'll be interesting. The fact that he showed up and then he was giving you, book test aside, what he was telling you with the vision of the flame and getting brighter or whatever you were letting go. And that's just true. Like so far he's done pretty good. He's giving you all the right information and also demonstrating his awareness and what he can help you with. And probably beyond that. So right now what's happening is that you're cultivating the relationship of trust with this presence, which is great.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you for helping me because it's so exciting. I'm like, wow. I'm like so stoked. But like, what is this? Like, it's when I haven't.
Him being evidential. He's showing you the reality of his presence, reality of what he's doing. It also just makes sense given kind of all the different experiences that you've had that the spirit is obviously trying to work with you in different ways. And this is what I mean when I was mentioning to Janelle that like, we don't know where it's going to go. We don't have to understand or know where it's going to go. It's going to unfold and become what it's going to unfold and become. And we just follow along, right? So like he's doing these things and you're just following along and you don't know where that's going to lead, but the potential of where it can lead is going to be amazing, right? Like varying possibilities. We don't know. We're just going to have to see.
Cool. Thanks, Michael.
You're welcome. No, that's really exciting. Keep me posted on that. And you're doing that in your physical circle?
No, this is just happening while sitting in the power with pals because I like to sit with people. So this is literally just sitting. I'm trying to just go blank and he appeared.
Can I just highlight that for everybody who's paying attention to this? Like, this is what we mean when we say just sit and things will occur. Now, there's going to be times where there will be nothing happening, right? And you're just going to be sitting and you'll just be sitting and nothing will be happening. And then there's going to be other times where something is happening and you just roll with whatever is arising. The key is you're not looking for that thing to happen. You're not trying to make that thing happen. It is just happening. That's what you want to observe and try to keep your eye out for, essentially. If you do have awareness, maybe you don't. Maybe you just go to sleep, right? Everyone's going to be a little bit different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Janello?
Oh no, I just
made a nickname for you. Janello. Okay.
Nello. They used to call me Nelly Bull full of jelly.
Yeah, and I just merged those things together.
Yeah, no, it's been because me and Nat, like, there's some different, we sat a lot together. A decent amount together, and there's a lot of consistency. And so kind of watching it unfold has been really cool because we do different types of sitting where one's just sitting and there's a kind of an observance, or we're all sitting together, blah, blah. But this guy who was coming in, there was a guy I could tell was blending with her that wasn't familiar to me for kind of a while now. And it was just like, and you're seeing her face kind of like become like this, I don't know. I was so aware of this male that was like coming through. And then just watching it all unfold has been so freaking cool. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't have that. I'm like, oh, I was in the freaking dark. I don't know where I was at. I don't know what happened, but.
Good. And it'll be that until it's not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It'll be that until it's not. And that's why it's like we don't ever want to, compare anything, because what medium does with you is might not be the same thing that they do with Nat, and might not be the same thing they do with someone else. So we just let them lead us. The hymn "Lead Kindly Light." One of the lines is, "Lead thou my feet, I do not ask to see the distant scene. One step is enough for me." And to me, that is really the mindset we want to come to mediumship. One step enough for me. I think that is how we get something powerful, something beautiful that comes from the spirit world.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah. Okay. And so real quick, one more thing. When it comes to like sitting, I don't know if this would be for trance, but when I do sit for the intent of trance, there's kind of like that process of going. And there's like, I feel the blend of somebody where physically I feel like that person, like you become that person, whoever's blending with you, like down to the hairs, every hair on their body, all their features, their side, everything, right? And then it's almost like a drop back behind them kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's correct or whatever, but that's how it kind of goes for me. And it's like they took over and then I'm kind of going backwards or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I end up back here and I don't know what's going on, but I'm just back here somewhere,
Yeah,
basically.
Exactly. That's very, very much how that feels. Absolutely. You're sort of just like a bystander from behind or to the side or whatever. It's a little bit different. Hey, so excited for the upcoming psychism course. We're happy to have you. I also know William's going to be there too. And Nat, did you take psychism with us already? The earlier one?
No. Okay. I signed up though for this upcoming one.
Okay, amazing.
I've never practiced psychism. I'm really excited.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. I love psychism. It's honestly one of my favorite things to do is psychism, because it's just so fun. It's just so much to explore, so many possibilities of what you can do. That's why I love it. So for anyone who's wondering, who's watching the psychism course, it starts May 7th, Wednesdays at 6:00 Pacific. So it's going to be good. It's 90 minutes. So for my East Coast people, they usually want to know that. How late do I got to stay up? 90 minutes. So yeah, 9:30, I think that is for you guys. No, later than that. 6, 9, yeah, 10:30. Yeah, so that's cool. So, I think continuing to sit with people, considering, like, honestly, I think sitting with people is the best way to develop, personally. Mm-hmm. I think so too. That's the best way to develop. It has a power. It has everything working for it. It's honestly the best. It is so fun. I have questions about blending mediumship with psychic info. I'll sign up next week to the Q and A. You can ask it there, Anne-Marie. Ask your questions. I can pull you up on the live too. You can ask there. So that's fine, dear. If you want to come up on the live, just push the request button. I don't know what accent I had. It was sort of a mixture of things. I don't know if any of them were accurate. I think she's going to ask a question. There it
Sure.
is. There it is. Boop. Forgive the cat.
Hi, Michael.
Hi.
So I'm noticing I'm getting a lot of psychic hits during mediumship. And when it first started happening, it would make me stumble and lose my connection. And recently, I'm getting very good at keeping the spirit and going with these psychic hits in between. I just did a reading right before this that was like, I really saw an improvement in that area, and the messages that came through for this person were so helpful for her. But last night, because of the situation of the way the spirit communicator passed, I felt myself pausing because I wasn't confident enough to talk about how this person passed. And like, you remember the reading last night, right?
Yes.
And I felt myself stumble because I didn't know how to talk about what this spirit communicator was showing me. So I know, like, I kind of got a little storytelling with it, right? Like I was reaching too much.
Yeah.
So do you have any recommendations? I don't know if you have a book or any type of recommendation for how to talk sensitively with your sitter about things that might be upsetting to them?
Yeah. I don't have a book. I don't know that that's necessarily covered in any specific book, but what I would say is, number one, you have to remember that the sitter knows the answer. So they generally already know that the person was unalived or the person was whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
if there's questions around that, that can just be what you talk about, is the questions around that. You don't have to be the one to be like, let me reveal to you this person pushed this person and XYZ happened, right? Like, you don't have to be the one that reveals that, but you can talk about the questions around that. I think people get a little bit nervous about talking about things like unaliving and this sort of stuff just because for them it's an uncomfortable thing to talk about, or they're worried that they're going to make the other person feel uncomfortable. But the reality is that person already knows what happened and the person has already passed on, right? So there's not anything that's going to get hurt. What I wouldn't do is go into like extreme detail about the specifics of what occurred. There isn't really a value in getting too specific about step by step, this is what happened, and this happened, unless it's a case where they're trying to piece something together and solve whatever happened, then that might be beneficial or valuable. But if the spirit communicator is bringing it in general, and this is true if you're at a certain level of development, you should just trust that if they're bringing it up, it's probably safe to say. The difference is when the medium starts to kind of take over and decide, I want more, I want to be more specific, I want to get more. And then that's where you can run into trouble, because now you're using your psychism to glean other bits of information that may not actually be coming from the spirit communicator and just coming from your psychic awareness.
That's exactly how I felt last night. I felt like I started to psychically tap into what happened to this person, and I was trying to be sensitive to what I was being shown. I didn't want to upset her.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they are saying in the chat that what was brought up was something that was questioned, right? And there are things that do come up. And so that's why I'm saying, like, going into a little bit about what is the questions around that is what you want to do. Are you going to knock this book over? Sorry, my cat's going to knock something onto the other cat. So what you do is you just be mindful. Am I getting this from the communicator, or am I getting this from my own awareness? You have to be aware of that. When you stop feeling the closeness of the presence, or you don't feel like it's coming from them directly, but yet you're getting a ton of information moving forward, then you know that you're probably working without your communicator. You probably ditched your communicator and you're kind of just working psychically. And so what we want to do is make sure that we are taking our attention to what's happening in the power, what's happening in energy. Do I still have this presence? Do I feel them with me? What do they want to give? And you let them give it to you piece by piece. That's keeping focus on your communicator rather than letting your awareness just get information for information's sake, which is going to invite your psychism to come in.
That's very helpful. Yeah, because I found myself, I knew I was becoming psychically aware, and I found myself reaching in that direction and losing my connection to the spirit. And I was just confused of how to balance that.
Yeah, here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with going psychic in a reading if you know that you're doing it.
Yeah.
If you don't know that you're doing it, then you need to not do that. So if you're in a public reading of some sort, and there's points in the reading that go psychic, that is okay. You just want to acknowledge that. I know I'm getting this psychically, not necessarily from your loved one, but I do feel like it's important for me to share XYZ with you. Blah 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 blah. Now, back to your person. That is okay in a public reading and that sort of thing. Because you'll hear a lot of teachers be like, "That's terrible. You're going psychic." Blah, blah, like it's this bad word, and it's just not. What is bad is if the medium thinks they're being a medium and they're actually just getting everything psychically.
Okay.
What's bad is if you don't know that you're doing it and you're saying, I have your loved one here, and you do not have their loved one here. You're just reading them psychically. And unfortunately, that's actually a lot of people who think that they're mediumistic. They do that. They just read psychically. So ultimately, at the end of the day, is it helpful? That's ultimately the most important question. Does this help the person in some way?
Right.
And so if it does, great. All I care about as an instructor of the topic is that my students understand when they're shifting from one to the other, and in the educational portion of their development, that if I say just do a mediumship reading, you can just do a mediumship reading. If I say do a psychic reading, you can just do a psychic reading.
Yes.
And we can play between the both of them all we want later, but we want to make sure that just as a skill ability to stick with one thing. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense, and it's definitely an area I want to grow more in. Is becoming more aware of whether I'm psychic or mediumship, because I love doing both.
Yeah, well, I think the very easy way to do it is, do I have a communicator and do I feel it coming from the communicator? Or do I not feel my communicator and yet I'm getting a ton of information? And you
Okay.
And also it often happens to people automatically when the medium is not feeling confident in what they're getting, and then they start to reach a little bit mentally. And once they start reaching, they start relying on their psychic awareness.
Guilty.
You and like everybody else, so it's okay.
Yeah, I know. I'm okay with admitting that this is where I'm at.
Yep. Jess just said, like, yeah, I used to go psychic when mediumship got hard. Yeah, that's a normal thing. That happens, but that's your crutch. That's a crutch that you're using to make it to the next connective point. But the problem is actually far earlier than that. The problem was whatever moment that started to diminish your awareness, so that you felt you needed to go psychic. So the problem was way before. At some point, you started inserting yourself, or tension was coming into it, and that was creating the limiting. Because if you were just relaxed and open and continuously connecting with the spirit, they'll just keep coming, keep going, keep going, keep coming. There would be no need.
Yeah. That's where I'm struggling.
Well, I'm sure you are going to get it.
Okay.
We'll keep working at it.
I am. I'm dedicated and I'm growing and I'm learning something and I see that and it's helping me relax.
Good, yeah. I mean, that's why we say, take your time with your development. There's no rush because there's so many levels and layers of learning that occur when you're doing your leadership development. So, very good.
So true.
Anne-Marie.
Thank you. That was really helpful.
Awesome. You're welcome. We'll see ya. Let me answer this question. How do you know when you're relying on psychics instead of spirit? Would you feel the energetic shift? Yes. So essentially, you should, when you're doing mediumship, feel the presence of spirit. You should feel thickening pressure, denseness in the atmosphere. You should feel a reaction. Every time that you give something accurately from the spirit, there should be an energetic growth in your experience. It's almost as if they draw closer or they feel more intense. That is telling you that you have a communicator with you that is giving you the information. You're getting things correct. And so you're getting sort of validated by your energetic experience from the spirit person. Obviously, that doesn't always happen, but you should at least be able to feel, okay, yes, I'm getting inspired. I'm feeling this inspiration from this presence that's here with me. What you'll find is when you start going psychically, you will not feel this anymore. This will fade away, and you will start to just get lots of information, not from a source, not from a this wave, this wave, this wave. You start kind of almost going forward with it. You almost start like moving down a pathway of information that's not coming from the inspiration from the closeness of that presence. You might still feel them and you can still ditch them and go over here. But you'll find that your attention of them starts to diminish the more that you're connected over here to whatever the psychic piece of information is. And so you just want to be aware of that. You should be able to feel the closeness and presence of your spirit, of the spirit world at all times. The power and the spirit is what tells you. When you're working solely psychically, you won't feel the power the same way. The energy will be different. Let's see. Sometimes spirits don't come through. Can you address that? I ended up doing a psychic reading. So, yes. So, it depends on what you mean, because someone's going to show up. Is it the person that you're hoping to hear from? Maybe not, but someone will show up and you'll be able to, bring through some sort of message to them. Thanks, Jess. Jess says, you're seriously such a phenomenal teacher. I appreciate that. So sometimes you will have instances where your spirit communicator will, it depends. Are you asking for someone specific and that's who's not coming through, or you're just not able to sense and perceive anything? That's an important distinction, because if it's you can't experience anything mediumistically, it may just be that it's just not the day for that reading and you just reschedule them and you do it on another day. Could be for any number of reasons why you're not able to perceive and sense whatever that spirit. And I specifically say you're not able to, because I don't actually believe the problems comes from the spirit side. I think spirit always basically wants to come through, pretty much, and they will. The difference is our awareness on a given day is what determines whether we are able to sense and perceive the spirit. So if in that instance you couldn't experience any spirit, it's likely that just wasn't the day for that. So what I would do if someone was coming to me for a mediumship reading and I was not able to experience the spirit, I would just reschedule them and do it on another day. I wouldn't read them on that day because for whatever reason, it's not working. Whether that's stuff going on in my life, whether I'm not feeling well, whether I'm tired, whatever it is. Whatever the reason is on that day, it didn't work. So let me bring you back on another day and try it again. So that's number one. Number two, if you are opening your awareness and you can't feel the presence of the spirit, and you can get other spirit communicators, great. Then just work with those other spirit communicators and hopefully they'll open the door. If it's not the first person or the second person, hopefully it'll be the third person that comes through that will be that. Alternatively, you can always ask your sitter, who are you hoping to hear from? Given that we only have a certain amount of time in this reading, who is it that you're hoping to hear from? And then they can tell you, and then you can see, can I feel a mom around me? Can I feel a friend that named Rebecca, right? Like, do I feel something like that? And then you can start working and then get validation evidence for who this person is. Correct. That did happen, and my sitter did not want to move forward. Yes, exactly. Thank you for the clarification. You're so welcome. So yeah, if they don't want to reschedule, then that's on them. I just give them my refund and be on their way. And I refer them to someone else, usually Megan and Lisa. Otherwise, I will just reschedule them. I probably wouldn't just do a psychic reading unless that's something that they wanted me to do. So yeah, that's what I would say. My mom transitioned 2 years ago and 3 months ago, and since then I've seen 214 every day. Sometimes how do I know if it's her or my guides showing me this? I don't think it really matters. I think the point is that they're drawing your attention and to her memory and to her. So whether that's her or whether that's your guides, they're drawing your attention to her memory, and you're making a connection to her. Every time that you think about her, every time that you send love to her, you are reconnecting with her in that way. So whether that's specifically her will depend on what do you feel in the moment. Do you feel it's her, or do you feel like this is actually a guide just trying to remind you of her? So it's about what you are feeling and experiencing in the moment. Interesting. I went to a pop-up medium and felt the subsequent readings were psychic and not mediumistic, but no reschedule. Well, important thing is if someone came to me and I started doing a psychic reading and they seemed unhappy in any way, within the first 10 minutes, I would absolutely reschedule them. If I give them an entire reading, well, first of all, I would tell them I'm working psychically. So that's number one. So you'd have to agree first that would be the case. But if I gave someone a reading and we are, they're taking all the information, but maybe that's not what they wanted. In the end, they tell me, hey, I felt that was psychic and I want my money back, or reschedule me for something else. If I did the reading, I probably wouldn't refund them if they said it to me later, not in the moment. If they said it into the moment, I probably would just refund and not redo it, to be honest, just because I give them whatever they had and then just give them their money back and then just be done with it. But they have to say it in the moment within the first 10 to 15 minutes. If it's any longer than that, then I've given you a reading and I'm not going to reschedule you or do anything else. But yeah. You feel like it's her, but you didn't know if it was wishful thinking. The reality is your loved ones are always with you. That's just the reality. It is her. Whether that is her, she's guiding you to that or not, doesn't actually matter as much as the fact that you should know she's already there. She's with you all the time. That is just the way that the spirit are. They're just genuinely there all the time. So important to understand. Get their consent in the beginning of the reading to read either way. Yeah, you always check in. They booked with you. They gave you consent, right? So they said you can have the reading. So what you do, though, is that I always check in at the very top of my reading. I have you down for a psychic reading. That's connecting in with past, present, future. Is that what in life guidance, or is that what you're looking for? And I confirm to make sure that's what they're looking for, because sometimes people sign up for a mediumship reading wanting psychic or vice versa. So I always confirm, I have you down for a mediumship reading. That means connecting with departed loved ones. Is that what you were here for today? And then they'll say yes or no, right? So that's how that works. So we are going to leave that there for today. Again, I'm here every Monday at 2 p.m. Pacific, answering questions for free, teaching, helping you understand yourself and your mediumship more. I will be on later tonight to do readings. So if you're at all interested in that, come back on to here. I'll be doing free readings at around 7 p.m. Pacific. So if you're interested in that. Nat and Janelle, thank you for being here live in the room. Thank you to everybody, Jillian, Mystic Sense, everybody in the chat, everyone saying hello, everyone on Instagram asking questions. Thanks for being here. You're greatly appreciated. And I hope you learned something today. I send you all my love. Mwah, and I'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Or
Thank
later
you.
tonight if you show up. See ya.